Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Modern Warfare 3. We are now one day removed from the big Activision skill-based matchmaking blog post, and the entire community is still talking about it. The entire community is still upset about it because most of the stuff in that blog post was complete nonsense. Like when they say that the top two tenets of matchmaking are connection and time to match, when both those things are demonstrably false, that was a really terrible way to start things off. And the more we read, the more we learned. It's like, my goodness, man, matchmaking itself is just so borked here within the Call of Duty franchise. And lo and behold, my first game on today, I hop on and there's a bunch of sweatlords on the other team, but the match ends up working out pretty well in my favor. So hopefully you guys will all sit back, relax, and enjoy that while we cover all of today's Call of Duty news, because the reason they put out that blog post yesterday was some real perfect timing on their part. They had this all planned out. The reason why they gave us that blog post yesterday was because today they're going to start hyping up Season 2 for Modern Warfare 3 as well as Warzone, and in there we have one of the biggest crossovers we've probably ever seen in the form of The Walking Dead. Now, I'm not entirely sure how allowed I am to show this trailer. They're really hit or miss when it comes to showing trailers and videos, but they basically recreated the entire introduction scene to The Walking Dead and put it in Call of Duty, featuring not only clips of the current Warzone map, but also teasing the return of Fortune's Keep, which will be happening here with Season 2. I've got to say, that was some pretty clever and manipulative marketing on their part. I mean, they put out all the skill-based matchmaking stuff yesterday, knowing it's going to get the entire community up in a tither, and then today they're like, hey, wait a minute, Michonne and Rick are going to be showing up in Call of Duty, and Fortune's Keep is coming back, and we're going to have like this big Walking Dead crossover. I'm not going to lie, like, I like The Walking Dead. I'm excited for the crossover, but you see what I mean here? Like, they put this out there right after the skill-based matchmaking thing. It was just some really good timing on their part, but they're also at the same time trying to sweep under the rug even more layoffs that are happening over at Activision Blizzard, because today, right after a big event, Activision Blizzard have let go of 60 out of the 72 staff in their esports division. There are just 12 employees left for COD Esports right now, which just really goes to show like what is even going to happen to COD Esports moving forward. Oh man, I don't know, but even more people are losing their jobs. I mean, at first everyone was saying it was just Microsoft, and when Microsoft started taking over, they're going to get rid of the overlap. At this point, man, they're just cleaning house. It really seems like they laid off 1,900 employees just the other day. Then they talked about skill-based matchmaking. Now they're laying off even more people, but they're also like, hey, by the way, this new season's coming up. It's going to be pretty damn fun. Are you guys excited? It's just the marketing, man. Like, the news cycle just never seems to stop with Call of Duty, which for me is good as a YouTuber. There's always plenty of things to talk about, but man, I just wish more of the news was good here in the COD franchise. So with that being said, let's try to pivot to some more positive things that may be happening with COD here in the near future. We have some leaks coming out about the Season 2 weapons that you guys may be interested to hear about. We have the F2000 assault rifle, we have the HRM 556 assault rifle, the Ram 9 submachine gun, the compound bow DMR, as well as the sword melee weapon, which are going to be the guns coming out with Season 2. I'm not sure if as of right now we actually know the multiplayer maps that are going to be coming, but if the entire season is going to be focused kind of around this Walking Dead crossover, maybe we're going to see something involving that. I'm really not sure. I don't think too much information has come out so far regarding the maps, but again, Season 2 is set to launch on February 7th, so over the course of the next week, we're going to be getting a lot of marketing, a lot of teasers, a lot of trailers. They're posting these images right here showing off not only Rick Grimes, but some of the guns that are going to be added, and yeah, Season 2 is going to have apparently a lot with it, but at the same time, right now is when they really need to be working hard to try to maintain their player base, and I think they're doing that with the Walking Dead crossover. I think they're really working to try to make sure people continue playing, but with all that information coming out yesterday about skill-based matchmaking, I have a feeling a number of people out there are just saying, you know what, there it is, straight from the horse's mouth. I think I'm done playing this series right here, because going back to that entire blog post, all that nonsense that they focused on in there, they're talking about how the reason why skill-based matchmaking exists in the first place is because bad players don't like being bad, and when they're not doing good immediately, they end up wanting to quit the game. They back out of matches, eventually they put COD down for good, and they're trying to avoid that happening. Well, I don't think they're really focusing on the fact that if you are an above average player, or if you are somebody that's been playing the franchise for a number of years, what about us that also quit matches out of frustration because you deliberately made our teammates bad due to skill-based matchmaking. You deliberately made the other team incredibly sweaty while you're sitting there trying to level up your pistols due to skill-based matchmaking. Do they not think that those people are also wanting to back out and go play something else as compared to having to deal with all the nonsense that happens in COD on a daily basis? You guys may remember a couple of days ago, we had that whole leak that came out, which was actually really interesting about Call of Duty Future Warfare. It was basically this game that was going to come out in place of Call of Duty Ghosts, and it was going to be developed by NerosCinema. Well, eventually the game got scrapped. NerosCinema joined Infinity Ward, and then NerosCinema made the extinction mode for Call of Duty Ghosts. But regardless, one of the devs for NerosCinema, he was actually the multiplayer lead on Call of Duty Future Warfare before it got canceled. Well, he saw all that skill-based matchmaking nonsense that was posted yesterday, and people are like taking little excerpts and blurbs about it and talking about it on Twitter, and they were highlighting the fact that in the blog post they said that skill-based matchmaking has basically been a thing dating all the way back to 2007 with Call of Duty 4. And of course, Brian Bright, that developer, was around back then, and he responds with bullshit. The former multiplayer lead of a COD game, I mean, sure, it did get canceled, but the former lead of a Call of Duty game is going out there on Twitter saying, yeah, that's bullshit. There was not skill-based matchmaking in COD back then. And it just goes back to the video that I've been showing. It's been blowing up on Twitter. It's like almost getting up to 1 million views right now. But I showed you guys, like, the number 2 tenet when it comes to matchmaking, according to Activision, is time to match. And they said right in the blog post, we want to spend more time playing the game as compared to waiting to play the game. Well, what about this clip right here that I made last year with Modern Warfare 2, and I could very easily recreate it this year with Modern Warfare 3, where I was able to find a match in COD 4, which of course had skill-based matchmaking apparently, and World at War, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Ghost, Black Ops 2 I think was in there as well. 6 different Call of Duty games. I was able to get into a game of Team Deathmatch in all 6 of those games in the same amount of time that it took me to find 1 game of Team Deathmatch in Modern Warfare 2, which at the time was the current COD, which therefore means there are hundreds of thousands of players. You know, skill-based matchmaking itself has been so ramped up, they're not prioritizing your connection, they're not prioritizing your time to match, they're literally only prioritizing protecting those lower skill players that probably don't even give a shit about the game in the first place. Like, for example, like this is a pretty good equivalent here. For a little bit there, I got into Fortnite. Believe it or not, I know some of you guys like the game, a lot of COD fans hate it, whatever, but call this last year sometime. I got into Fortnite pretty heavy for like 1 season. Like, it was my first time playing. We had the no build and things like that. Like, I enjoyed it and I was getting into the game. I really had fun with it, but over time I just kind of got bored of it. Like, after a while, battle royale just is not really my thing. Like, when it comes to online shooters, I really enjoy stuff like Call of Duty multiplayer. So eventually I phased out of Fortnite. You know, I played for a little bit, I bought some stuff in the shop or whatever, but eventually I'm like, game's not really for me. I'm not really that big of a fan. It had nothing to do with the fact that we weren't winning or anything like that. Like, we won quite often. It was actually really fun and enjoyable for a long time, but eventually I decided the game wasn't for me. Well, flip that around here. How many COD fans do the exact same thing? If you're somebody that COD is not your normal game, it's not your main game, you know, if you hop in, you play for a little bit, maybe you have some fun, maybe you do this, maybe you do that, and then eventually you're like, yeah, it was fine, but COD's not really for me. I'm gonna go back to playing whatever it is I want to play. Well, then Call of Duty just lost a customer right there when that person decides they want to move on to a different game. So what they're doing with their matchmaking is they're catering the entire matchmaking system to trying to appease those players that don't even actually give a shit in the first place. You know, if COD was something they really wanted to get into, they probably would have done it at some point in the last 15 years, unless once again they're catering to actual children who were not around back when games like Black Ops 2 were out, or, you know, Modern Warfare 3, even the advanced movement games, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, or whatever. If they weren't into COD back then, what makes them think they're going to suddenly want to jump into COD now? You know what I mean? It's not like COD is new. It's not like COD is that innovative every single year. Like, you know what I mean? So they're kind of focusing the entire matchmaking on trying to appease those people that hop in, maybe play the game for a couple of weeks, and then hop back out. All the while, they're punishing harshly the people that buy the game every single year, pretty much no matter what, the people that grind the interstellar camos, the people that go for the dark matters, the people that complete all the axe and zombies, the people that get the zombies camos, the people that are actually driving your engagement and everything like that. They care so much about player retention and appeasing their shareholders, the people that buy the battle passes every season. All those guys are the people that are being affected most by matchmaking. It's punishing them essentially for enjoying the game and wanting to play the game, Meanwhile, they're rewarding the people that don't actually want to play the game. They don't care to learn the maps. They don't care to learn the guns. They're going to hop on. They're going to talk some shit or not. They're going to complain, oh, that game's too hard, or COD sucks. It's a noob game. Who plays that? It doesn't take any skill to be good at COD. Then they're going to jump back into like Apex or Fortnite or wherever the hell and think that they're good at video games. You know, those are the kinds of people that they're catering to, but those are the people that care the least about the franchise. And ultimately, yes, they may purchase the game, but they're also not going to be the people that are buying the shop bundles, not the people that are buying the battle passes, not the people that are actually pumping up all those player metrics that you sell to your shareholders. It just blows my mind, man. It really does not make any sense. And perhaps as we get into season 2 here, things may start to get a little bit better. They did say in the blog post in kind of a roundabout way that they're hearing the feedback that players are tired of every lobby feeling sweaty, and they're going to try to address that and alleviate that and mitigate it somehow. But I don't know. I don't know if they're ever going to be able to do that with how their matchmaking is currently set up, but we'll have to wait and see. But with season 2, you know, new maps are coming, Walking Dead crossover, Fortune's Keep is coming back, new guns, all that good stuff. And going back to the other news there, 1,900 people got laid off the other day, and pretty much the entire esports team got laid off today as well. Man, everything is happening 24/7 over there at Activision Blizzard, and I have a feeling it's not going to be slowing down anytime soon. So as always, I'll be here with you guys every step of the way as more news comes out, as more information gets released. So be sure to subscribe if you're new around here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.
The mission's complete. Good work.